Everybody, it's Lyn from Lyn's Crafts Designs, and I've got a little bit of an update. First of all, YouTube has done a bunch of changes lately, and one of the changes they've done is they've changed the comment section. Now they've got it to where you can look at comments you haven't responded to and comments you have responded to. The comments you haven't responded to, when I went to comment last time, I now have hundreds, literally hundreds of comments that I haven't responded to. These have been since the beginning of when I started my YouTube channel, which was 2011, so I really don't know what to do other than to just respond in this video. If I haven't responded to your comment, it wasn't because I was ignoring you. It was because YouTube was not giving me notification that I got a comment. I respond to all comments. All of them. So please, if I haven't responded, don't take offense. Maybe respond again, or I don't know, private message me on Facebook, something. I'm not ignoring you. YouTube just didn't send me the notification. I even thought about going back and commenting, but literally I would have to comment to hundreds of comments. Enough about that. Next comment was about this giant bruise I had on the back of my hand. I had to go to the emergency room here, it's been 2 weeks ago now, because I got a high potassium result on my last labs. It was ridiculous. I went to the ER, they checked my potassium, and I'm perfectly normal. So, it was just that the ER nurse had one of my veins slip. So, no big deal. Let's see, was that all? I hope so. In this video, I'm gonna do something different for me. I'm gonna do a wand. I know I've done a wand in the past, but this one is gonna be a little Halloweeny and a little hokey. So I've got a stick that I just picked up out of the backyard. I had my husband clean off some of the harder knots. It's an oak branch, and down here it's split. I'm going to make this the handle, so it's going to be embedded in clay, so don't worry about that. Alright, I've got some original Super Sculpey and some of the Sculpey Ultralights. If you don't have these, don't worry about it. You can use any color polymer clay. Any color Primo would work. You could just paint it afterwards, which is what I'm going to do. So, I'm going to start with, and back to the branch. If you live somewhere where it's a little higher humidity, you may need to bake your branch in the oven first, just to get all the moisture out. I would say 30 minutes if you don't preheat your oven. I live in Texas. This branch has been sitting out for I don't even know how long. It's plenty dry. So I'm just going to take see, what was that? 3 of the little, I don't know, could call those ribbons of the Super Sculpey. And I'm going to condition it. And this particular Super Sculpey isn't too hard, but it is a little bit dry. So I'm going to condition this and I'll be right back. Okay, it's been it's been conditioned a bit. I'm going to put just a little bit of bacon bond. I swear I'll run out of this soon. I do have another bottle. It is just really thick. Oh, gosh almighty. Okay, putting the bacon bond on there probably isn't necessary. Now, my Super Sculpey has cracked, and I really don't care, because I'm going to make this look like it's a wooden handle that has seen lots of use and has probably been on here a long time. Okay. So I'm just going to take my little wood graining tool. You could use whatever, your pen tool, whatever you want. And I'm just going to give it a little bit of initial veining. Now I'm putting some good pressure on this little veining tool. And I am going to go back and add more details. Don't worry. Started to grab my knitting needle tool, but really want something a little finer. I'm making some of these knot holes look like eyes. Now I'm just going to take the brush end of my clay shaper and dust off a little of this extra clay. Now I'm going to go from the end and just give it a little texture. And that was a technical term, if you don't know. Okay, and now I'm going to bake this. No, it doesn't look like much right now, but hopefully after it's baked and painted, it'll look really, really well. So I'm going to bake this 270 for an hour. 275, 270, whatever the directions say, I don't even know. I always bake for an hour because baking longer adds strength. So I've got 2 oven thermometers, and they're just in there to double check each other. So I'll bake it and I'll be right back. Okay, out of the oven. Perfectly cool. I've got some of the Sculpting Ultralight, and it's kind of like that, Crayola, I don't know what it's called, the air dry clay. It's kind of marshmallowy, and it really doesn't need much conditioning at all. So again, I'm going to add a little bit of Bacon Bond. And the Bacon Bond is just to get the clay to really adhere to the stick. I cut a bigger hole, but it didn't make much difference, did it? I'm telling you, this is like trying to get peanut butter through a straw. And I'm sure I got too much. But again, that doesn't really matter. Okay. Now, you get what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to go for a witch's bony finger. Exaggerated, of course. Because, Lordy, if my bones were this big, alright. Now the Sculpting Ultralight is really, really easy to form into a shape, but it is difficult to keep from messing up that shape while you're sculpting the next part. So Okay. Now, I'm gonna just put a little bit of texture in this, and then I'm gonna go ahead and bake it again. I know it's not covered to the end, but I just don't want to mess up what I've already done. Okay, now here it is out of the oven. Time to put a little more bacon bond on. Lord, please let me use this up faster. Okay. Okay. Now it looks a little more like a Frankenstein's monster finger rather than a witch's finger, but it still gets the point across. Okay, I'm just smoothing it down into the already baked area. And once again, I've completely changed my mind. So I've got the... it's one of the newer Finnebar molds. This is something I almost never do when I'm working with polymer clay. I've given the whole thing a coat of gesso. And then I put some satin sealer on the whole thing. And I did that because I don't want this antiquing cream, or could be acrylic paint. I don't really want it to soak in to this Sculpting Ultralight is really, it's a really different texture to the regular polymer clay. It's more of a porous, I don't know if that's the right word, but surface anyway. So I've got this Deco Art Media antiquing cream. You could just use acrylic paint and just wipe it back off while it's still wet. But this antiquing cream, what it allows you to do is it allows you to let it dry. And then you can go back with a baby wipe or a damp paper towel or whatever and wipe it back. So I'm just going to give the whole thing a kind of liberal coat. And I'm really going to make sure to get it around those little embellishments. And in the joints between the bones. Okay, just like that, making sure that everything is covered. It doesn't matter about the streakiness or okay, so just do the whole thing and then I'll be back. I'm even going to do the handle. Okay? Okay, I've got a baby wipe / craft wipe. And all I'm going to do is rub away all of that I just painted on. Seems like a waste, but the end results will definitely justify the means. Like I said, you can do the same thing with acrylic paint and just wipe it away while it's still damp. You may have to do it in sections just to make sure it's still damp, but it will work just the same. Okay, so I'm going to continue on and I'll be back. I like how it's really leaving the dark in those recesses. Okay, so again, I'll be back. Okay, now there it is. I really thought about, you know, how you think in the middle of the night. I really thought about going back and highlighting these stars and stuff with a little bit of gold. But in hindsight, I really just like the way it looks. It may have taken off a little bit more than I intended to down there on the bottom, but I can touch that back up with some paint if I want. There it is. It turned out way thicker than I wanted. My husband mentioned that. But really and truly, I wanted the stability of that polymer clay. So, there it is. A fun, we're going to call it a Frankenstein's monster's finger. Just because of the thickness. But there you go, a magic wand for your inspiration or collection or whatever you decide to make it for. This was really fun. I actually may do another one. Not necessarily Halloween themed, but okay. If you did get any inspiration from this video, please like, share, and subscribe. I do have a Patreon now. All the links to my social media will be listed below. I've got an Amazon link affiliate. I've got my Etsy shop, blog, Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. So please consider subscribing and like this video. Bye for now.